Dearly redheaded, we are choosing consciousness today to get through this thing called grief. Interesting word, grief. It means love, which makes for a mighty good joke, but I'm here to tell you, there's nothing else. Just joy. And if the big picture tends to bring you down, go crazy once your life goes. Woo!
We are good to go.
Yep.
I'm going to pick on Mary Magdalene. I was talking to Beth about Magdalene at the end of our last session. That was not what I intended to do. What I intended to do was talk about her teachings in this session. So that's what I'll do. I don't know a ton about Magdalene. I just know that I'm supposed to do something with her, make it funny, make people think and laugh, spare them grief, incite joy. I Googled what she was known for, and this is what I came up with. And this is from, what the hell, Meredith Rahm. Throughout history, Mary Magdalene has been veiled in mystery, misrepresented, misunderstood, and the true story of being a priestess, a healer, a leader, and equal to Jesus, often hidden. Yet beneath the distortions lies the truth. Mary was not merely a follower, but a spiritual teacher, mystic, and embodiment of the sacred feminine. As ancient texts like the Gospel of Mary resurface, her deeper legacy is being reclaimed. Not as a woman broken, but as a woman empowered. Mary Magdalene stands today as a beacon for those on the path of awakening, inner healing, and soul remembrance. Can you imagine if she had been kept in the history? Throughout her story, we are reminded of what it means to love fiercely, lead with compassion, and walk in truth, especially when the world would rather you stay silent. I'm not going to go there. Here are 8 spiritual lessons we can learn from Mary Magdalene through the lens of modern mystics, scholars, and seekers devoted to restoring her voice. Healing begins with inner authority. One of Mary's core teachings is the reclaiming of inner spiritual authority. Number 2, devotion is the gateway to transformation. Mary teaches us that devotion, forgiveness, and compassion is the alchemy that unlocks freedom. Her presence at the crucifixion and her return to the tomb reflect a love that does not abandon even in the darkest hour. This kind of love transforms suffering into sacred insight. Number 3, the divine feminine lives in embodied presence. More than a symbolic figure, Mary Magdalene is a living transmission of the divine feminine. She honors intuition, cycles, sacred sexuality, and the healing power of presence. Through her, we learn that the divine is not something distant or abstract. It is felt in the body, in the breath, and the act of devotion. Number 4, your wounds can become wisdom. Mary's story reminds us that what is rejected by the world can be holy. She was labeled, distorted, and erased from the canon, but her wisdom endured. For those who feel unseen or misunderstood, she is a guide, not in spite of your wounds, but through them, you are called to serve. Guess that's what I'm fucking doing, right? That's why I'm fucking doing this. She would have said fuck. She did say fuck. She had a filthy mouth, Magdalene. Number 5, symbols, roses, and sacred oils hold her essence. To connect with Mary Magdalene's energy, many modern practitioners use roses, anointing oils, and red or pink stones like ruby and rose quartz. The rose represents her heart, unfolding in layers of love and truth. Sacred anointing rituals, such as applying essential oils to the heart, penis, or crown. Oh, no, penis isn't here. It says to the heart or crown, evoke her priestess path of healing and blessing. I got penis by Brian. Penis. Number 6. Her relationship with Jesus was one of spiritual equality. Mary's relationship with Jesus, when viewed through the lens of suppressed texts, was one of deep spiritual partnership. She was the one he trusted with the mysteries of the soul, the one he appeared to first after the resurrection. This reflects the ancient truth. The feminine and masculine are meant to walk together, not in dominance, but in divine harmony. Number 7. Meditation can be a portal to her presence. You can call upon Mary Magdalene through guided visualizations, prayer, or simply sitting with her image or name in silence. Place your hands over your heart and say, "Beloved Magdalene, walk with me. Help me remember my worth, my voice, and my sacred path." Let her presence guide you into softness, strength, and soul remembrance. Number 8. Her story is your story. Mary Magdalene reveals to us that our voice matters. Our wisdom, our healing, our devotion is needed. She's not a figure of the past, but a living archetype for every woman reclaiming her voice, her power, and her divine connection. May these lessons inspire you to walk more boldly in your truth, with compassion in your heart and sacred fire in your soul. The Magdalene path is not reserved for saints. It is available to every woman who chooses to remember. I really, really, really like that. I did not, I read the first one. I actually cut the first lesson short. In reclaiming of inner spiritual authority in the Gospel of Mary, she reminds the disciples that the path to the truth is not external. It is found within. Her life asks us, where have I given away my power to outside systems, and how can I return to the wisdom within? Yeah. Pretty glad she showed up. I'll tell that story sometime. It's pretty amazing, that story. I don't think I've told it before and don't feel like going there now, but I do want to share. And again, guys, I forget what I share. I forget what I say I'm going to do. I just do the best I can when Thursday comes. But I think I talked about it with Beth briefly, that I had a KunTalini. Beth was aware. And for the purposes of those unaware of what KunTalini is, this is based on Bonnie Greenwell's books. In her introduction, this is how she described it. This wasn't my experience exactly, but it was similar. I had a lot of hot and cold energy around it. An intense energy spasm suddenly rolled up my spine and through my head. My body jerked up as rivulets of bliss moved through my nervous system. It was like being electrified with joy. With the persistence of labor pains, the energies pushed upward over and over, each roll more intense than the one before, my mind becoming progressively less focused. After a few minutes, I was barely present in the room where I was sitting, listening to a college lecture on developmental psychology. I did not know it then, but the direction of my life, my interests, and my work was being blasted into new territory, and I would never again see the world through the same lens. Something powerful had grabbed me and turned me in a new direction. That's just one person's rundown of what their KunTalini was like. And what's really interesting is it activates the base of your spine and travels up to your crown chakra. And that, ironically, is the part of my body, my spine, that I have a tough time with. I do Pilates. I do things to make my spine. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just. It's not surprising to me that I had this awakening where my spine's concerned, because essentially my spine needs, my body needs, I I don't know what to say about it, attention. But it occurred to me, the woman that I do Pilates with does body work, and we do an exercise where, and I, it's not that I can't do it. I was afraid to do it. I think where we throw our legs over our heads essentially, and I have a real concern about it. And it only occurred to me the last time I did Pilates that it's because my silence as a woman, I was never silent. I always spoke and defended myself, and ended up being causing a lot of reactive abuse because I was so angry. I was not the silent type, but what I realized is I wasn't heard. And that is something that I just want to distinguish. Very often, women will say to me, men have said to me that, in my next relationship, I'll ask for what I need and want, and la la la, and I'm like, nah, it's not what your ability to convey is. It's the other person's capacity for what you're asking for, and that's where I wasn't heard. I was in there. I knew what I wanted. I was very clear. It just I wasn't aware that the other parties were more interested in me. I'm trying to be careful here because I still have empathy for them, but their interest was in controlling me, and it just never made for me getting what I wanted. But it had started when I was so young that I didn't know to step away. And that's the problem with covert abuse, is you just don't know until you know. Yeah. So Gabby Kovalenko showed up in my life this week. She's somebody that I've mentioned before, and I was really interested in what she would have to say, if there was anything that she would say about Magdalene, and in her book Falling Up, she has a chapter on the feminine principle. And this I just pulled out of my ass this morning when I won't tell you what I was doing, but let's just say I was comfortable. And what I want to share from what Gabby wrote about feminine energy, let me just read. Sometimes I can't walk and chew gum. I apologize. To begin unpacking your relationship with the feminine principle, contemplate your relationship with your mother. Now, I know there's a lot out there about the mother wound, father wound. That's not where I'm headed. But this was pretty powerful. Again, I'm going to shut up and read. Was or is she present in your life? To what extent? Do you experience loving feelings for her? Do you experience her loving feelings for you? Would you say that your mother reflects the divine feminine essence? Or is she distant from that knowing of what the feminine principle entails? Does she show you what it means to feel love and unconditionally align with the source of truth and power within you, which is expanded not through more doing, achievement, and conditional success, but through joy, love, and wholesome experience? Did you receive a healthy example of what it means to surrender and to give to your intuition? Do you observe a healthy relationship between your parents or relatives built on mutual trust, loyalty, integrity, and affectionate feelings of respect and love? So bigger than being about mom, it's the divine feminine, it's the anima versus animus. Animus to me is the energy that's more tied to production, achievement. Not that I didn't want to promote that in... I'm trying not to talk about my kids, and I just opened a bag. But I think I'm reading this so we can all get in touch with the divine feminine within us, men and women. But I'm thinking of what I did where my kids were concerned, and I definitely promoted achievement. I definitely production. I didn't know enough to be more. I couldn't be. I don't want to make it sound like I did it on purpose. I just didn't know enough to convey what's divine about being a woman, being a mother, being the feminine. So I hope between what I talked about with Beth and more insight from my guru peanut gallery that you can see what I'm gunning for and wanting to harmonize the energy between men and women, and it being tied to all of us needing more feminine influence. This is religious. I wasn't going to read it because I've read so much. But this is Judy Sion. This book I have not read. I know I say I have like 100 books. I don't fucking read.
You're getting there.
I read parts. This is the Magdalene manuscript, The Alchemies of Horus, and the Sex Magic of Isis. Oh, great mother, divine feminine. This is as religious as I get, by the way. Birther of the cosmos, lover unto spirit, creatrix of all matter, and queen of all worlds, within worlds, and those without. We call you to us in this hour. We are your children, hear our call. We are the daughters and sons of your divine union, the flesh of your passion for life. You who lay with spirit, our Father, in the beginning of time, and brought us forth from the blessed union of spirit and matter. We are your children, the sons and daughters of your flesh and your heart, and we remember your touch and the fragrance of your essence, and we long for you. Come to our hearts and gift us the remembering. Come to our minds and open our genius, and lighten us with your presence. Draw back the veils that we might see, and hearken the doors to open, that beauty and ecstasy may live in our homes and hearts more fully. This is our hour of greatest need. We call you through fire and water, through earth and wind, through all that bears your name. We call all your lineages and all your names. Come into us. Come unto us. Come into us. So be it. Like, couldn't I just have that fucking hanging in my house when they were growing up? Wow. All right. Well, in my own way, I think I made a lot of sense. Time check.
18 minutes.
Fuck.
It's okay.
I know it's okay.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I wrote about her.
Sure. Full explanations are always cool.
Well, then I can't do both. I'm like dead in the water. You've noticed that about me, right?
Sometimes.
You can say it. I live it.
I get it.
I take these notes in case my trouble is I went to telling jokes in the last episode, so my brain is like,
You're on joke mode.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. Anyway, so let me just take a second. Don't go too far. Oh, okay. This is something I wanted to talk about with Beth, but I was trying to stay focused in the moment, and I didn't. And this is a little left of center from the perspective of what I just did where Magdalene's concerned. But I think it's very important where women are concerned. And okay. All right. I think women who experience covert abuse, so live in covertly abusive relationships, men too, manifest differently. You know, we talked about, I don't know whether it was last week. I think it was just last week when I was talking about Theo Von, Louis C.K.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So, and they were owning up to their addictions and how they suffered, you know, and caused other people suffering as a result. So I want you to know that when I say this, I know my ex was suffering. I get that. But what I was doing to be able to be in the relationship was, I call it, and I think I've talked about it once before, a consensual, conscious, continuous, although conscious is kind of good, violation. Where I had to go sexually in my brain, not too dissimilar from where men go, but different. I don't necessarily want to elaborate. I talked about it once, and I may have brought this up last week, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but I brought it up to a psychologist once, like I floated it to see what he'd do with it. I think I did talk about this last week, or with a friend, doesn't matter. So I floated it by where my head went in order. I was in a marriage. I was in a consensual relationship, but I had to go to certain places in order to find the joy.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And I'm only recently aware that that is a form of dissociation, as what men do. I mean, we're remarkably dissociated from one another, and what you would think of as normal, having been in a very covertly or overtly abusive situation, I would imagine it may not be too different. That being said, and this is going to feel like a I talked to, I got to be careful here. I talked to another woman who was abused as a child by the neighborhood kids sexually. They used to keep her in a closet. Horrible stuff. And she admitted to me that when she was in a loving relationship, and I mean it facetiously, what she was willing to do to keep the love alive. And I'm not going to say what she did, but definitely took dissociation to please her partner and the things that he wanted her to do, and with others, let's just say that. And it was making my brain kind of just fire on all cylinders, because I don't think we have gotten to the place with psychology deep enough to the root of trauma and its manifestation and how it plays out in healing. And yeah, I think it's just that consensual, continuous violation, whether it's somebody doing it to us or us doing it to ourselves. And this woman, similar to myself, who due to high degrees of tolerance, it's almost like you test the waters. Like, I would imagine men do it too. You test the waters as far as what the other person accepts. When am I going to get the love fix? Like, if I do something that's going to please that person, it's acceptable to me because there's going to be a payoff. But those payoffs end up being very, very, very like breadcrumbing. They end up being very small, but it keeps you playing along.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I hope I did okay with that, but I think it speaks to the nature of how abuse manifests, and it gets. I know it's deep or not, depending on who you are, but I just this making the unconscious conscious is just so big when it comes to harmonizing our energies with one another. And developing more honest relationships. It's possible. I firmly believe and I firmly believe that in our futures, relationships are going to develop in 5 and 6D and then transfer down. Like, I really believe we're going to be able to do that if we get the harmony piece. I mean, that's what happened thousands of years ago. We just got away from it.
That was 1,000 years ago. Yeah. We definitely got away from it.
Magdalene and Jesus did it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, she wasn't a whore. Just for the record. All right.
Not a lot of history on it.
Oh, yeah, there is.
I mean,
yeah, there is.
there's a good chunk, but
Well, you just changed your mind about 12 seconds. There's a lot on it. But I'm not that. I always say I'm here for the future. I want to meet. Yeah. I want to meet the right people to educate me. It was like when I became fascinated with Carl Jung. I wanted to talk to the people that could talk to me about it and educate me in a way that I respected versus, just like I'm here for the future.
Like me, who just says, "Yeah, that makes sense."
I know. It's just really hard for me to tell if I'm crossing enough T's and dotting enough I's. I can't worry about it. I don't worry about it. This is fun shit. This is stuff that, if I was, who am I perpetually jealous of? That woman who, Breakdown, Mayim.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched Breakdown?
No.
Yeah.
I know who she is, though. I'm aware she's like is she a neurologist? Like something, she has something to do with neuroscience. She's a doctor.
She's a neuroscientist.
I mean, yeah, she was on Jeopardy.
Big Bang.
That one TV show from when I was like
Amy
Farrah
Farrah.
In the 90s, she had a TV show for a while too.
Yeah. She's
smarty pants.
Well, yeah, but today I'm getting ready to come here, and my synchronicities are bizarre, and I love that, but it's hard to explain to people because I don't remember what the fuck I was watching, but it wasn't her. And then next thing I know, and I'm just doing dogs, cats. Yeah, okay. You see, this is Harry. This is Harry right here. He wanted to go out this morning. I said no. So all of a sudden and I don't remember, I'm shitty with names, and I'm glad I can come up with hers. And they're talking about dissociation and something else I intended to talk about today. And I stopped it because I figure that's something I should watch, and I'll check it out later. But it was neat. I mean, she's nailing. She's expanding science to include spirituality in ways that, I can only dream about at this point.
Thank you for listening and supporting Natural Born Redhead. If you follow the bouncing balls, please like and subscribe. If you know someone interested in sparing others grief and inciting joy, message me on Facebook or reach out via my website, Natural Born Redhead. Jai Ma.